Hi everybody, I'm Susan Mulvihill. Well, I'm not going to be in the vegetable garden for today's video because I want to focus on plants that really shine in the landscape this time of year. Here we are, we're in the first full week of September, and there are so many plants that either add a lot of color or some type of interest to the garden. That's what I want to focus on for today. Now, before we get started, I wanted to clarify that I'm in Spokane, Washington. That is about 300 miles east of Seattle, and we are in hardiness zone 5B, although most of Spokane is in 6A. So let's get started. Let's start out with an ornamental grass that I am crazy about. This is northern sea oats, Chasmanthium latifolium. It grows in zones 5 to 9. It will reach 2 to 3 feet in height, and it prefers full sun to part sun. The two things I love about this grass is the rustling sound it makes in a breeze. Can you hear that? That is just cool, especially on a fall day that's a little bit breezy. I also love these seed heads. They look like little chevrons. And of course, these will turn golden in the fall, and they look fantastic in a floral arrangement. They're just beautiful. Now let's look at some amazing perennials. This one is Russian sage, or Perovskia atriplycifolia. That's a mouthful. It grows in hardiness zones 4 to 9. It will reach 3 feet in height. It is deer resistant, that's nice. It's great for pollinators and hummingbirds, and it's also drought tolerant. Now these amazing daisies are a type of Gloriosa daisy called Sahara mix. I've been growing them for about 3 years now, and I think they are amazing. I'm going to show you a couple of other colors. But it grows in hardiness zones 5 to 9. Now for me, sometimes it's been an annual, it doesn't make it through our winters, and sometimes it has been a perennial, and in this case it was a perennial, so it came back from last year. They're super easy to start from seed. They will grow about 20 inches tall. They are very popular with the pollinators, they're deer resistant, and let me show you more colors. How about these beauties? The thing that is really cool about this mix is that you get all kinds of wonderful colors like a dusty rose or rust color or burnt orange. It's just amazing. And here are 2 more colors. It's safe to say I am smitten with this flower. And just one more. Now you are probably familiar with sedums, or stone crops as they're known, and probably everybody is familiar with autumn joy. I love autumn joy. It is fantastic, but I wanted to point out this one. This is double martini, and look at the burgundy stems. Isn't that cool? So they are hardy in zones 4 to 9. They grow about 18 inches tall, and they are another plant that is drought tolerant. That's certainly an important attribute these days, isn't it? Now how about black-eyed Susans, or Rudbeckia fulgida? If you are looking for a bright flower color and general perkiness, you cannot beat these perennials. They grow in hardiness zones 3 to 10, that's impressive. They reach between 1 and 3 feet in height. They're great for pollinators and birds. And that's because you want to leave the seed heads in place at the end of the season so that they can eat those seeds during the fall and winter months. And they're deer resistant. And of course, with a name of Susan, you know it's got to be good, right? Boy, do we have a breezy day today. So this is phlox, or Phlox paniculata. Some folks don't like phlox because the older varieties have a tendency to get powdery mildew. Fortunately, there are a lot of mildew-resistant varieties available these days, so always be sure to look at the plant tags or information online before you make a purchase. So this white one is David, and the flowers have a light scent, plus they're mildew resistant. And this is an older variety. It grows from 2 to 4 feet high. It's hardy in zones 4 to 8, and it attracts butterflies, especially tiger swallowtails and hummingbirds. Phlox comes in all sorts of colors, and they're really good, tough plants. Now, I mentioned the Sahara mix Gloriosa daisies earlier, but I also wanted to talk about Gloriosa daisies in general. I have been growing them for years now, especially in our pollinator garden, and the colors are so vibrant. They typically range from yellow to golden orange to rust, but there's also varieties in interesting colors such as cherry brandy. You may have seen that one. They're hardy in zones 3 to 8. They grow 2 to 3 feet tall, and they are loved by bees, beneficial insects, and butterflies. And they're deer resistant, so it's really a win-win all around. This is Helenium. Its common name is sneezeweed, and I think it might sound a bit alarming, but the fall colors of these blooms are fantastic. The plants are hardy in zones 3 to 9. They grow 3 to 5 feet tall, and they're deer resistant. I just planted mine this spring, so they're still getting established, and it hasn't helped that we've had an extremely hot, dry summer. But I've got them in different colors. So there are yellow ones. I've got some that are kind of striped a little bit with orange and red, and they really are a cool plant. Let's talk about some shrubs too. Now, you've seen this hydrangea before, and there are so many different species of hydrangeas, but I wanted to focus on two that are panicle hydrangeas, or Hydrangea paniculata. So that means that they have more of like a cone-shaped flower head, and they are fantastic. They're very hardy, and they're awesome. So let's look at this one first. So this one is vanilla strawberry. The flowers start out in a creamy color, and then they later turn to this dusty rose. They're actually going to get even more rosy as we get farther into the month. It is hardy in zones 3 to 8, and it will grow 6 to 8 feet tall. The thing that's nice about these hydrangeas is that they bloom on new wood, and that means you can prune pretty much at any time, although I really prefer to prune this one in the fall. This other panicle hydrangea is Little Quickfire. It is also hardy in zones 3 to 8, and what I really love about it is that it just grows about 3 feet tall. It can grow up to 5 feet in height, but mine seem to be staying at about 3.5 feet tall. It's drought tolerant, and it attracts bees and butterflies. What a great shrub this is! And you can see that its flowers are turning color this time of year too. The other thing I wanted to mention is roses. You know, I think we tend to overlook the fact that they bloom right through the fall, and they give us so much joy, wonderful fragrance, gorgeous colors, and also rose hips in some instances. I know that Rosa rugosa tends to have large hips, and they are gorgeous. And if you're not sure what hips are, those are the little seed pods that form from where the roses bloomed. Now, believe it or not, this mess behind me here is a couple of massive roses. One is Rosa glauca that has beautiful bluish foliage, and the other one is Darwin's Enigma. And yeah, enormous. But let me show you an example of hips. Here are some hips on that Rosa glauca. They are going to become more intensely colored in the fall, and they're just gorgeous. Now, I mentioned rose colors earlier. There are so many gorgeous colors of roses, and if you gave them a little fertilizer after their first flush of blooms, so usually around July, that will give them the energy they need to bloom right through the fall. They'll even hang in there after a couple of frosts. So don't overlook roses as being a great addition to the garden, because they're going to give you a long season of bloom. Now, I've saved the best for last. This is American cranberry bush, or Viburnum opulus variety Americanum. I am absolutely crazy about this shrub. You get 4 seasons of interest with it, even though we're really looking at fall colors. First, you get white lace-cap flowers in the spring, then shiny green berries in the summer, which turn orange and then start turning red, and then both red berries and gorgeous red foliage in the fall. During the winter, those berries feed a variety of birds, with the most notable being waxwings. And we're crazy about waxwings, so we love watching them. These shrubs grow in zones 2 to 7, which is impressive. It's actually a native shrub. And they grow an impressive 10 to 15 feet high. Now I realize sometimes for some circumstances that is too tall, but I just have to show you this plant because it is so gorgeous. They'll grow in full sun to part shade. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing these plants. And if you find that your garden is missing on late season color or interest, maybe you might want to grow some of them. Thanks so much for watching today, everybody. I'll see you next week. Happy gardening.